Hi, welcome to Saturday Sessions. I'm Doc Walter. This is New Men Rising, right? An army of men dedicated to breaking their chains to addiction to pornography, transforming their lives with new positive habits, changing their relationships, transforming their relationships with their friends, with their significant others and wives, becoming better men, better husbands, better fathers, better friends. So, gosh, a lot to think about. A lot has happened just within the last week, right? So much in the news, so much anger, so much violence. I think we need to make a distinction, and we tend not to. And the distinction is simply that you can be angry. There's righteous anger, and then there is just stupid violence. And I'm not being dismissive at what has happened in the United States, what has happened in Minneapolis, what is happening in other cities. There is righteous anger. But to have that translated, and I have heard and I've read, I've seen comments on Twitter and also on other online social media platforms. There's certain conspiracy theories now going out. I'm not addressing any of that right now. Do we have a race problem in the United States? Of course we do. Because we haven't, I think, collectively as a country, had an honest conversation about America's original sin. Right? What is our original sin? You know this, it's slavery. We eventually fought a war over it, but we botched the Reconstruction afterwards. We had a civil rights movement, which was successful, but then it was botched through ill-timed and misplaced liberal and progressive ideas forced upon the rest of the country. So we're still dealing with the ramifications from something that our founding fathers were unable and unwilling to be honest about. So our original sin, right? Slavery. And the consequences of that has been a over 200-year institutionalized racism. But we can be righteously angry at the injustice done to our Black brothers and sisters. And I'm saying that as an American, and yes, I'm also saying that as a white man. But the violence for what? And exactly who is doing the violence? I think that needs to be asked as well. Are these looters? I mean, protest is part of our constitutional right. So protesting, yes. But the leading to violence and leading to looting, is that being done by individuals in the Black communities? Or is it being done by others? We need to actually seriously ask that question, look at that, rather than just categorically throw out a blame. And then we go back further down that rabbit hole once more of recrimination, following accusation, following racism. And I think as men who are transforming ourselves with positive habits, one of which is to be aware and to critically think. We can see people who do not, right? They react rather than think. And often their reaction is one of irrationality. We need to think. We need to read. We need to hold off judgment. Now, I think the judgment clearly in this scenario, what we've seen the last few days following the death of the black man in custody, yeah, there is justified, there is righteous anger for that. But should we join in this collective call to protest? Yes, peacefully. Should we participate in any kind of violence or actually calling for violence? No, no. And it would be, I think, very wise of us as men and men of action to lead our friends, our family, in reflection on this horrific event, as well as the ramifications of what has happened. To offer kind of a mirror in terms of what does this mean for American society? What does it say? How can we become better? Begin the narrative, begin the conversation from there. I think that's what we can do. We should do. We are I saw this and I retweeted it because it's so accurate. There was a sign, like a movie cinema marquee sign, and it said, "We are drowning in information while starving for wisdom." So true. So true. Remember this, men. No one can dictate your choices except you. And this applies to our recovery journey as well. Relapses happen. We know this. We know this because you're hungry or you're angry, you're lonely or you're tired, right? Remember that acronym, HALT? Or maybe you've heard it in other therapy group sessions or maybe other materials that you have read. If you're triggered, my goodness, we have a lot of potential triggers with us here over the last 3, 4, 5 months. Talk to a friend, take a nap, exercise, eat something like a cereal snack or something. That's be wise. Let's be wise in what we do. The balance, gentlemen, between self-love and self-hate is very thin. One is going to keep you satisfied, just with the average. And the other one is going to force you to become better. If you hate how you look in the mirror, it can be a motivator to exercise more. If you hate, and I realize that hate is a strong word, but if you hate how you feel after you've watched pornography, after you've masturbated, that's your motivator to drastically change your behavior, drastically change your actions. That's why it's so important. I've said it in some previous videos. If you go and would check them out on the channel, I've also mentioned a few times in the tweets on Twitter that I have produced. Journal your progress, and part of that progress are some of those relapses that you will encounter. But those patterns and the triggers all should be positive motivators. You need to change your mindset. Think of them as positive motivators. Don't be satisfied with average. I've actually become really saddened in the last several months as I've started to reach out more and to help more men and more people, more couples. And I've been saddened in realizing this. The average is considered normal. The average is considered normal. So to strive for virtue, to strive to be better, right? To grow, that is actually thought of as abnormal. Why? Why wake up at an early hour? Why try to meet these certain fitness goals? Why try not the different diets, but just why try to be healthy with eating these foods? Why journal? Why should I do screen time intermittent fasting, meaning I'm not going to be watching so much Netflix? It's the weekend and I just want to relax. So instead of watching, I'm going to read a book. Well, why should I do that? Right? The normal thing is I got to catch up on the show because all my coworkers are talking about it. That's the new normal. No, come on, stop. Don't accept the average. Strive. Push yourself. You have to push yourself for continuous improvement. That's actually the normal. But we have allowed ourselves to believe in this lie that average is normal. Average is okay. It's not. And I don't know when it started. I don't know if it was a particular decade or a year or maybe an event. I mean, in my 40 years, it has been for sure like this. But just to accept the average? No, you're better. Les Brown says there's greatness within you. Right? There's greatness in all of us. We deserve better. We can be better, right? So don't be average. We need to motivate ourselves. I was speaking with my beloved earlier in the week, and it was after some prayerful reflection that I felt that I understood something. And so I wrote it down in my journal. I also tweeted it. And it sounds rather philosophical, but it's simple. It's simple and it's classic truth. All is good, for all is good. All is good because all is good. For all is good. What does that mean, right? That just sounds like a bunch of gibberish. See, we have to understand something else as we begin to change positive mindset, change our mind. Even the negative, even the bad is good. Why? You may be screaming at me right now. I totally don't believe you. Why? Because it's still a lesson for us. We still will grow from it. There's good there. Your worst experiences with a friend, with a family member, with a lover, former spouse, all of the pain, all of that hurt, that's, of course, we cannot discount it. We cannot throw it away. It's part of us. It's part of our experience. But it's good because it has helped grow us into who we are now. So, all is good, for all is good. If we have had difficulty, if you are continuing to struggle with your difficulties with masturbation, with pornography, recognize, if you haven't already, that what you really are addicted to is the temporary feeling that porn gives you, that the masturbating has given you. It's temporary. Then you're going to feel shame again. You're going to feel guilt again. You're going to feel miserable again. It's a cycle, right? Break the damn cycle. And for those who have successfully been able to recover for a certain number of months, or maybe for a year, maybe even for just 5 days, congratulations. And then you've relapsed. It's okay. You've learned something from that. So let's continue. But you can say with even more certainty the next time, yes, actually, I want to break this cycle because I don't like this cycle anymore. Those of you that are struggling still in this month of May, I urge you, baby steps, of course, no judgment, but I urge you to stop using Pornhub. They monotonize on abuse. They monotonize on non-consensual sexual acts. Sexual trafficking is a large part of their business. Stop using them. Stop subscribing to them. It's not a moral. For me, pornography is a moral issue, but maybe for some of you, it's not. Okay, fine. So it's not a moral issue. We can meet on another level. It's not a partisan issue. Democrat, Republican, Green, Libertarian. Not a political issue. It's not a partisan issue. We're talking about human dignity here. We're talking about the violation of human rights. And if you really want to be a new man as you're slowly transforming yourselves, we as new men realize how important it is to protect our women and our children. And Pornhub has done absolutely nothing but abuse both for profit. So I urge you to stop using, and after some consideration, I would even urge you to go further and to sign a petition. Go to traffickinghub.com. Hold Pornhub and the executives accountable. You can also find the petition on change.org. Hold on to the basics, gentlemen, in our recovery here. Hold on to the basics. So if you feel that you're getting lost or that you have lost your way, just hold on to the basics. Love. Love is obvious. It's what we're seeking. It's what we're searching for. We can find that in religion, but just that human interaction. This is what we want. This is what we search for. We need to transition. We need to move from looking for it in the wrong places. You can't find love on a cam site. You can't find love looking at the porn videos. You can find love in being authentic and being vulnerable and meeting people. Human interaction. It's basic. Return to the basics. And for you that are saying, "Look, hey, Aaron, Doc Walter, this it's impossible. I can't do that." Actually, you can. All things seem impossible until you try them. Life is about showing up. Today, it's Saturday. Show up. Last 4 months, what have you done? What have you done with your time? If during quarantine you have increased the amount of pornography viewing, you've increased the amount of masturbating that you've done, and your friends, maybe some members of your family also have this as well, this struggle, or at least maybe unashamed talking about this, then if it's friends, it's an easy solution. Get new friends. If you're suffering through porn-induced erectile dysfunction, there we go, right? PIED. Stop acting out for 60 days, 90 days. You're going to see a marked physical difference. You have a sexless marriage? Look, talk to your spouse, your significant other. You can have a great conversation where you ask them, and then they allow them to ask you how you can create intimacy. And intimacy doesn't necessarily mean sex. I have a kind of a small little ebook or guidebook on my Twitter page. It's 5 hacks, 5 simple hacks to get over this addiction to porn and recreate intimacy in your marriage, in your relationship. Check it out. But look, you have to talk. You have to talk with your significant other. Get an accountability partner. Install screen accountability on your devices. You can do this. Definitely, you can do this. Because we know, as husbands, as men, we know, deep inside us, watching porn, acting out, going campsites, whatever, we're just disrespecting. We're disrespecting our wives. We're disrespecting our children. We're saying, especially with our spouses or our significant others, that sex with you is not special. And that messes up your marriage. Definitely messes up your sex life. Stop. Actually, what you need to create a really stronger relationship, stronger marriage, stronger partnership, you have to have lots of love. You have to have lots of compassion, lots of compromise. You have to talk a lot. You have to be patient a lot. These are things that it took me 10 years to realize. And then, yes, you need to have lots of kindness, lots of touching, and lots of sex. Small steps. Small steps. Another account, a media account that I follow called Fierce Marriage, but one of their tweets, one of the things they had on Instagram was quite simplistic again in its profoundness. A sure sign of a man's strength, it says, is how gentle he loves his wife. You see, pornography has conditioned us over the years, and maybe for some of us over the decades, to view women, to view our spouses, not with gentleness. We just look at them and we objectify them, right? Marriage or building away from that, just a relationship. It's not a painting, it's a mosaic, right? Mosaic made up of little tiny pieces, either stuff of ceramic, stone, or different pieces, small pieces, millions of little tiny moments. Okay. Take a hard look, gentlemen, right now. Take a hard look at your reality around you, in your home, in your city, in your interactions, daily interactions. Be honest. Be honest. You know, goes back to what I mentioned before about being average. Don't be average, right? You have this choice. You either resolve to move on, to be successful, to take your motivation, to take your successes, 7 days, 10 days, 30, 90, 120 days of recovery, and like rocket fuel. This is a phrase that Dean Graziosi often says, like rocket fuel, take off to more success. Yeah. That's awesome, right? Or you can choose to be average for stability. And when I mean stability, I just mean like that's your average. You have a daily routine. You're happy with it. You've become a conformist to it. Well, why? Simply because you don't want to be uncomfortable. Not being honest with yourself. If you are honest with yourself, you realize that you need discomfort. You need to get out and start moving. You need to get out of this shell that you've created. Don't be the victim. And for God's sakes, please don't be the bitter victim. Okay. If you are a husband and you're watching this, for a moment, I kind of do this in blocks, but for a limited time, I'm looking for 7 men who want to end their addiction to porn in the next 90 days. We'll start with 60, but we can go all the way to 90, who are married. Now, what I mean by that is you have to be married or you have to be engaged, or in a committed relationship for at least 2+ years. Okay. And you can email me on waltercoaching@gmail. In the subject header, just put down 7. You want to be one of that 7 samurai coming together. Did you ever see that movie? The 7 Samurai. How many of you have seen that film? It's a great film, classic. I can actually have some coffee here. It's good, but it's not really exactly hot, so I'm gonna have to reheat it afterwards. One of the things I also was thinking about earlier this week is the problem that all of us experienced is that we allowed, and maybe you are still doing this, you're allowing your behavior with porn and masturbation to grow in the present moment while you're seeking a solution in the past. You understand what I'm saying? You want a solution, but you're looking in the past for that answer, while in the moment, in the present, you're still watching porn, you're still masturbating, you're still going to the campsites or acting out in other ways. Your daily progress is proportional to your mental attitude. I push this positive mindset a lot, it's the very first thing that needs to change, seriously change. It's the very first thing that needs to be addressed by you. And if you're going to work with me, we go much deeper into this also as well. Your mental attitude is proportional to then also your daily progress and your recovery. Tomorrow is Sunday, and for many, Sunday is a day of rest. It's a day that you may go to church. But what are you doing today? Today is Saturday. Reclaim your Sabbath. Right now, I am actually in the process of writing a new ebook on this point. Reclaim your Sabbath. Today, Saturday. What can you do to make your Sunday a success, your Sabbath day a success, and then from your successful Sabbath to have a successful week? You see, actually, every day there's something special, something important that we can learn and take and then progressively grow. What are you doing today? What have you done? Right? To set up to have a proper Sabbath, a day tomorrow, Sunday, a day that you're not going to be again in front of the television, a day again that you're not going to be out at some of the stores, those at least that have reopened. Look at your Sunday as a day that you can, yes, rest, but also serve others. Have you played with your kids if you have children? And then maybe if they're older, have you spoken with them, talked with them? What about friends and family? Have you spoken with them? Have you prayed or meditated, right? Have you spent some spiritual time? Have you gone to church if you're religious? Here's a question for you. Have you had sex with your spouse or your significant other? Have you done these things, or are you going to treat your Sunday like how you treated your Saturday, just which was wasting hours, doing a few things, but still hooked, still looking for that the next dopamine hit? I want all of you. I want all of you to quit your behavior of acting out. I want all of you to control your sexual behaviors. So, on the next month, we're going to try something. We're going to do a 7-day challenge. We're going to do a 7-day challenge based on 7 secrets, 7 strategies for porn-free men. You're going to work with me privately. We can do this. I'm going to be going out pretty shortly. I'm going to be putting out the interest for this, having you the link to sign up for this. You can do this 7 days. It's a 7-day challenge. You can learn some secrets, some strategies. Today is your day. Today is the day that you say no more. I'm done. And in the present, you commit yourself. You commit yourself to your recovery. Reach out to me. Let's talk. I want to help you. If you're not there yet, that's okay. But I urge you then to look at some of the videos, or to go on Instagram, or to go on Twitter and look at some of the things that I have there. Knowledge, learn, think. And then step by step, you will then become the leader in your family, the leader in your relationship. So, how are you going to spend today? Spend it wisely. You know what you need to do, you know what you can do, right? Remember the basics. Remember, all is good, for all is good. And most importantly, remember that your tomorrow starts today. Blessings.